Inside the Game, back live across the airwaves, episode 224 here on Inside the Game. You got 224 horns to go, man. You got to bang them all out. There you go. Keep going. You got it. Welcome back in. You're on Inside the Game. No, you're good. So it turns out the groundhog was right. There is more winter, and there has been more winter.
Oh, it's been
and there
like
was
2
once
days.
again. But there was more winter last night. He just said there's more winter coming, and he wasn't wrong. That's all I'll say. And, you know, I woke up and went out to my car, and there's a certain film on, you know, when that rain / freezing rain / snow mixture, whenever you get that, there's like that film across your windows. Like you can't see anything out of it. It just looks like one big sheet of ice. That's what the situation was today. So I knew immediately. I'm like, this is going to be fun. So driving home, I end up getting stuck just outside of someone's driveway in a snowbank, and I call Ryan over here, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to do my best to, kind of parachute into this thing, but pretty good chance I ain't getting out of this, so I'll let you know. And anybody out there that's never been, maybe you're from a warm weather environment, maybe you've never had the honor of being stuck in a snowbank, here's how you do it, okay? First thing you want to do is you want to straighten your wheel out. Yeah, that's the most important, okay? You ain't going anywhere if the wheel's turned. Second thing you want to do, slowly back up, forward, back, forward, until you have enough traction to where you can just slam that thing in reverse and get up out of there. And that's what I did. So we're here. Ron Burgundy's here so we can do the news. Thank you.
I
Thank
didn't do
you.
that when I got out of a snowbank the other day.
How did you do it? What was your strategy?
Just kept cranking the wheel, and then I went up the guy's driveway a little bit, and then I got a little bit of motion, and then just backed out, and then kept going.
Good. Okay. Well, you jiggled it though. Like you still jiggled it, in a way.
My wheels weren't straight, and I went up the driveway a little bit because I know I could get up a little bit, and then I knew that created enough momentum where I could just hit the reverse, and then I went zoom and kept going.
What are you driving? Driving?
At that time, that was because this was the 20. Oh gosh, this is the 2009 Escape that's at the house. It was
okay.
Before I left. This is when I went to go work out, and this was the car that was the most available, where I wouldn't have to move cars to grab my car. So I was like, I'll just take this one, and it's an old car. I'll tell you that it's an older one. Sometimes when you start the car, the radio doesn't work until it gets a certain temperature.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So
and that's not necessarily one you're going to be trailblazing through the snow in. So I can see where that you have to jiggle that one a little bit.
No,
see, my girl's got like this nice Nissan brand new tires. Yeah, it's just not great. But
get you one of those, maybe you won't get stuck. Or
let me.
You should have just said, "F it, I'm taking your car."
It could have been. Let me just see if I can find enough in here to make that happen. So
or just
tell the boss it ain't a raised.
Or just take her car.
All right,
I could. Could just take
I could. Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, the solution is that we're here. We're able to get the show off. So welcome in National Soccer Network, wherever you find us. Quarter of the way to 300 coming up on Monday, but capping off here Friday with episode 224. We can get into our conversations here in hour number 1, kicking it off, talking about, again, the man I feel like we've talked about more than anybody else representing the U.S. men's national team. That's Weston McKennie. Again, was named Player of the Month for Juventus in the month of January. But now the question of his future coming into question. Obviously, the last 3 off seasons, the question has been, will Juventus bring Weston McKennie back? You and I have both talked about probably comfortably their best player with the organization right now. So what is the future for Weston McKennie? And there are a few options. He could resign with Juventus. Feels like maybe a comfortable decision. Obviously, he's been very productive for that squad. Again, in my mind, I don't see any rational reason as to why that organization would say that his spot is not safe. Maybe in
I
previous
like that you
years,
call
maybe
these
there was
teams
an
organizations. I like it. I like you call them organizations.
what are they normally called? Is that not what they're
Clubs.
normally called? Clubs?
Clubs.
Okay. Clubs is organizations just not like an accepted term in the soccer space, generally
Uh,
speaking?
you, not like you
Because
can't
I guess
call.
they're
It's
not
not a
organizations.
franchise. That's not an organization. It's just the club.
Yeah.
The club.
Okay. Interesting. But anyways, so
I like that you
to
call it
return
organization, though. It's
that
very
maybe
American
that's
of you.
it is a very American thing. And some of these organizations that I talk about, we'll talk about the Tigers later. They just make so much money that it's just like, how can you not call it an organization? Calling it a club feels like more like homegrown, like grassroots. But anyways, you're right. Okay, the accepted terminology, the club. But to return to that club now, the only reason why I maybe think that Weston McKennie is having any hesitation with that is really in some ways because of in his mind how ungrateful they've been the last
It's
handful of
not his
seasons.
hesitation. It's the club's hesitation. It's not
Yeah,
him
you know, but
hesitating. It's the
right, but
club's hesitation.
if they were to come to him with an offer, that's what I'm saying. That's what like he would probably be thinking at the same exact time. Like you've been pulling me around this whole time. I'm done with this experiment. I'm done with having to prove my spot every single year. But the club dragging their feet is a mind scratcher to me. The MLS conversation, I just think, just from an overall perspective, I just think he's too far deep to talk about coming back to the MLS. And by too far deep, I mean he's too far ingrained in the Italian game right now, and he's doing well in Europe. So for him, unless the MLS finds a way to take a massive leap forward in terms of relevancy in the next couple of years, I don't see why someone like Weston McKennie would even entertain the idea of coming back to Major League Soccer. Inter Milan is a unique conversation. I'd love to hear what your justification is and why you think that'd be a good spot for him. But I know that there have been links already connected between McKennie and his position at Juventus and now Inter Milan maybe having some interest there. But what says you about McKennie's future? Because I think it's certainly questionable at best when we talk about Juventus.
Well, I think if he gets the offer to stay at Juventus, he's going to stay at Juventus. It's more of if the club wants to shoot. It's whether the club wants to keep him around or not. The only reason the MLS thing came up, this is just the article I was reading this morning, was Inter Milan, who has been kind of beating around the bush with McKennie and all that fun stuff. But they've also they've said that they're interested in him. They told him that, or his agent, that they're interested. Because again, he becomes a free agent at the end of the season, so it's not like he can absolutely talk to other clubs. It's not, there's no rule against it. This isn't the NCAA where there's tampering involved, and that's illegal. But no, I think 100% if McKennie wants to stay at Juventus, he will if he's given an offer that he likes. If the offer is nowhere near what he wants, then yeah, he's gonna leave. But if the same offer between Inter Milan and Juventus are there, I think he stays at Juventus because he's their best player. And Inter Milan, does he necessarily? They could ultimately win the league in breaking into being a starter on a Serie A winning side. That's a little bit difficult to do. Their midfield is a little bit weaker than I thought it was. Cholongu is still there, and my Polish brother Zielinski is still there, but he's old, so he'll be gone soon.
You're Polish?
Huh?
You're Polish?
Look at my last name.
Mashke Mash, my brother. I didn't know that. All right, what's up, dude?
Speak it, but no.
You had a punchki or a punchki?
Those are trash.
They're oh my god! You get out of here. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Trash. For the people at home, anyone SKI is 99.9% you have a 99.9% chance of them being Polish.
I didn't even think about your last name, True. You just said you were Hungarian the other day, and you kind of look Hungarian. So like,
I don't even know.
I didn't know how much Polish you got. Aren't they normally like darker hair, like more like I guess I don't know.
I'm not well established in my nationality.
In your
culture.
lineage. Okay.
But no,
we got to get you to a polka dance.
No, I don't like that. I don't like the polka.
All right. Okay.
My family does. I don't. Right. I don't like it.
Really?
No, anyone with the last name OV in it, 99.9% chance it's Russian. SKI.
Or an MC to begin it that's Irish, a mix something. Yeah, you're something somewhere along the lines.
There's another way you can tell if they're Polish. Oh, also, to tell if they're Polish, if it's got the most random letters put together, 99.9% chance it's Polish. Like,
how do you
got a Z with a Y, you got a B with a W, like next to each other. Yeah, 99%.
How many Z's would you guess is in the name Shapansky?
Shapansky?
Yeah.
I think it's only like one.
The one time that I read the name off, it was a swimmer from Poland.
3?
3 Z's.
Interesting.
Where?
Interesting.
Where? Anyways.
Probably the first, third letter, and probably one letter before the SKI. That's probably where it goes.
Yeah. Anyways, so as you were saying, I don't know how we got there. Rabbit trails.
Yeah, because I said Zelensky. My Polish brother, who is gonna be is that still there? Anyway, Umbrella is still there too for Inter Milan. Anyway, if he's looking at these 3 options, if he's giving Juventus, he's gonna stay at Juventus. If not, I think Inter Milan is a good opportunity. You still stay in the same league. We have Pulisic versus McKennie in the Milan derby. That'd be pretty cool to say that. I mean, if you asked an American 10 years ago, well, there's going to be 2 Americans in the Milan derby in 10 years. And what would you tell them? And they'd be like, what? Are they like the ball boys? Are they, an assistant coach? Or what's that going there? But anyway, I think that'd be good. I think it'd be a good move for him. It'd be more of the question of, can he break into the starting 11 consistently? I think there's definitely a pathway for him, and especially with going on in the transfer window and all that fun stuff. And then the MLS is just a safety blanket for any of these players that are playing overseas. That's all it is. If you can't make it there, if you can't make it in Europe, the MLS is always there. I know he was in the FC Dallas Academy, I believe. I'm pretty sure he was in that. So again, I'm sure Dallas would open up with open arms. I think McKennie's also from Texas too, but. I mean, the New York teams, the LA teams, the Miamis, like they all have money to give McKennie. Does he want to go to the MLS? Probably not. But I do see at some point this summer after the World Cup one big move of an American overseas into the MLS. I don't know who it is. I mean, I would say Pulisic no. I would say Aronson no, and I would say Adams no, Richards no. I don't know who the player would be, but there's going to be one player that makes a move over to the MLS that's from overseas just because some billionaire investor is going to somehow like take over a team or something or become like an executive or something and want to give money to a team to bring one American over because he just fell in love with the World Cup. So that's I think there's going to be one move of an American in the MLS. Don't know who it is. Don't really care who it is, as long as it's not one of our starting 11 players.
Yeah.
But no, that's what Pulisic's got, or McKennie's got 3 options. I think the best one is to just stay at Juventus if he can, but it's really up to the club if he wants to stay or not.
Stay at Juventus because you don't think he's going to be able to have ample playing time on Inter Milan? That's why you think he should stay?
To start, I don't know. I mean, you got to see what type of business they do. But no, you're already a starter. I mean, yeah, he starts and dominates for one side. I mean, why leave it?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, and I mean, and stay where he is and stay in a position where you can continue to go out and play as frequently as he does, and obviously the ability to move around the pitch as well, because we've seen a lot about his versatility and his ability to do multiple different things. Yeah, you're right about the MLS thing, and I hope that you're right with that prediction. I really do, because right now it seems like a far cry, but again, don't underestimate what a World Cup can do, because if the invention of the MLS is what resulted from the last time the World Cup was here, then you would like to imagine that there would be something else, groundbreaking, goodness gracious, that happens because of this World Cup. It's only natural to assume that. But I find a hard time kind of pinpointing who, if we're talking about American players, who it would be that would want to voluntarily come back here that makes a difference. So I'm not talking about like Josh Sargent, like all due respect to Josh Sargent, but that doesn't necessarily set the world ablaze that he's coming back to play in Toronto. But you just went through some of the names, like McKennie. No, probably not. Adams, no. Richards, certainly not, because he's really starting to break in at Crystal Palace, so I can't see him going backwards. Weston McKennie, no. Again, he's being earmarked by other clubs in the league in Italy right now, and obviously much better sides than Inter Milan. No, I can't see that. Like maybe one of the younger guys, sure, but they're not necessarily ones that change the narrative. So, here, I'll give you this. It's Ronaldo or bust for the MLS. How about that? You got to get
Jeez.
Ronaldo or it's no, I'm kidding. But I just have a hard time picturing who it is, even with how impactful the World Cup is going to be. And it's going to change a lot of things. I think it's going to change participation. I think it's going to make certain other leagues more popular. I think the USL is going to benefit greatly from the World Cup. I think the MLS will benefit greatly from the World Cup. I think certain teams will see an increase in attendance. And I think jersey sales. And I think just seeing the game is going to inspire a lot of, even younger kids now to continue to go out and play because we know just the sheer number of kids, but just not just play, but to stay involved later in life, which I think is the biggest issue for soccer because a lot of young kids play, but then they just get out of it. They choose something else. It's going to have those impacts. But I don't know, Ryan. I can't really come up with the player that I think would be actually comfortable being the one to step away from what's expected of them, which is you're going to succeed everywhere else and actually come back to the U.S. Maybe it's Weston McKennie. Maybe. I can see where you're coming with in thinking that way.
I think ultimately it's probably going to be Gio Reyna. That's ultimately. I mean, I know
Gio could be. Yeah.
This is what this is how I got this idea, and I was trying to find the article during that. This was reported from Matteo Moretto, who was talking to Fabrizio Romano this morning about it. He says, the first is that Juventus will make another attempt to renew him, this being Weston McKennie, but the real problem is the additional cost of the deal. MLS has a concrete scenario for the player. He's received several approaches and calls from the leagues and he has never been indifferent to the idea of returning home. The third point is that in recent weeks, Inter has also been asking for information about McKennie on a free transfer. So again, that's what I've talked about. McKennie can absolutely leave. His contract ends on June 30th, 2026. Well, what's the benefit of that being that contract running until June 30th, 2026? Well, he's in the World Cup at that. Hopefully, they're still in the World Cup at that point. But no,
What I will say is, if McKennie did come back, I think that would get the ball rolling for sure. I think that would make it even more attractive for other American teammates.
Yeah, I would say so, but ultimately we don't want that. As a USA fan, we don't want McKennie to come over.
It's true. We don't want them all to come back. Yeah.
I ultimately think it's going to be Gio Reyna just because he struggles at the club level and he does fine with the men's national team level. I mean, he always shows up and scores a goal for some. He makes an impact for whatever reason for the U.S., but with his club, he's always kind of struggling. So I think it ultimately becomes Gio Reyna who comes over here, whether that is the big move that I've talked about. I think it would be him. But the idea of the MLS, if you're a USA men's national team soccer fan, the idea is simply this. I was literally talking about this with my dad yesterday. I go, you want these players to, at age 17 or 18, leave and
ship them off.
Huh?
I said ship them off.
Yes, you want these 17 or 18-year-olds that are either breaking into the MLS side for their MLS side for the first time. You want them sold overseas and them at least give it a shot, see what it's like over there, because obviously the more darts you throw at the board, the more you're eventually gonna hit a couple of big players, and then at that
bullseyes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you want to eventually hope. The idea is them to leave at 18 and eventually come back at the age of like 31, 32, 33 back to the MLS. That's the hope. Whether a player wants to stay overseas for that long, away from home, that's a different discussion. But it seems like Pulisic's not having an issue with it. Tyler Adams isn't having an issue with it. Chris Richards isn't having an issue with it. So there's something about that. And yesterday I saw Matthias Albert start practicing with the first team of Dortmund. So shout out to him. And obviously he's a young player. I think he's 16 or 17. But no, ultimately if they don't move at the age of 13 or 14 to be in their academies over there, eventually if they're in an MLS academy, get them out of here at 18, go overseas, give it a shot, and then hopefully you come back at the age of 31 or 32, which means if that's the case, then that means you had a very successful pro career and you're a pretty good player, and hopefully you help the USA. But that's ultimately the goal for if you're a USA soccer fan. If your goal is to grow the MLS, then you got to have your homegrown talent here. But if you're a fan of the U.S. men's national team, it's we got to get these guys overseas and doing their thing. Just like if you're a French basketball fan, a French national team basketball fan, you don't want Wembanyama playing in the French league. No, you want
Yeah,
Wembanyama
you want
playing
him
in the NBA.
NBA. Yep.
And
Yep.
playing against guys like Dylan Brooks every day to see if he cracks under pressure when Dylan Brooks is talking junk to you.
That's why it's always weird to me when people are like, well, why do you call it why do you call it your American championships, world championships, or world this or world that?
Oh,
it's
when,
like,
gosh, what was Noah Lyles said
no,
that?
Noah
World champion
Lyles,
of what?
yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because everybody's kind of grasped onto it, but I'm like, the NBA is literally more than half of the NBA is not American. I'm like, they're the best players from all around the world and they come to play here. So, yeah, I do think it is accurate to call it something in regards to the world, whether it be a World Series, whether it be whatever else. But I don't know. That's just an annoying topic that always just bothers me. It's like, yeah, there's not other teams around the world. I'm like,
I would like to see an NBA.
Sure.
Can we create like a World Cup or like a Champions League of just teams from around the country or around the world?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And we just.
I think it's called the World Champ. There's a World FIBA World Cup.
No, I'm saying like these NBA teams. Like these NBA teams go play like the French teams or like they go play.
Yeah.
Real Madrid's a real basketball team, so we just have them play Real Madrid and stuff. Like I mean,
and for what it's worth, like. Those European teams have won those games before. They've won exhibitions against NBA teams, but like
it's exhibition and how
come on now, yeah,
like how much were these teams actually trying? So like there's a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Like, whenever you hear the behind closed door scrimmages, or like even when Arsenal's like lost to QPR like this season in a behind closed door scrimmage, they lost like 3-0. Well, tell me who was starting. What were the minutes distribution, and what did the game look like? Because like I remember the 8-24 Jawan team beat top 10 Marquette in a behind closed door scrimmage. It's like, guys, come on.
We're grasping at straws here at this point. We're just trying to build up anything we can. But yeah, let's head to break. When we come back, the Saudi League has issued a statement to Ronaldo. So another layer in the saga that is Ronaldo trying to stand up against what he calls, obviously, teams hoarding players in the Saudi League. Yeah, that saga continues to get more and more messy. But first, let's tell you, as always, about these summer camps that are coming up. FC Bayern Summer Camps. They're a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern Camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at fcbayernyouth.com. Back in live on the final episode this week on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky. Give us a follow on social media at National Soccer Network. Getting into the second topic here in hour number 1. Ryan, I'll let you set this one up, but there's another episode in this saga between the Saudi League and Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with some of these leagues actually showing some balls. The NCAA, obviously this week, and then Saudi Pro League showing some balls. You know what? Everyone's been trashing on these leagues in corporations, associations, whatever recently, but give these guys some credit. They're showing some balls here. And this is just what the Saudi Pro League said yesterday regarding Ronaldo, because I guess he's supposed to sit out today, I guess. But the Saudi Pro League is built, this is what they said, their officials. Quote, the Saudi Pro League is built on simple principle. Each club operates independently under the same rules. Clubs have their own boards, executives, and directors. Cristiano has been fully involved with Al Nassr since his arrival. However, no individual, no matter how important, can influence decisions outside their club. Recent transfer activity clearly demonstrates independence. One club strengthened one way, another chose a different way. These were legal club decisions. This, of course, being N'Golo Kante, who, of course, he eventually got his way and went over to Fenerbahce in Turkey, and then Karim Benzema leaving, I forgot where he left, to I can't even pronounce the names because they're so crazy. But no, all these, they're standing up to Cristiano, who has been sitting out. He's supposedly supposed to sit out his game today against the Karim Benzema team, but nobody knows if he's playing or not. But no, shout out the Saudi League showing some balls here today to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, and I agree to a certain extent. Listen, as much as they want to say, hey, everything that we did was legal, everything that we did was by the book, all the decisions that were made by each organization, our organization, it's all squeaky clean. As much as I want to believe that, unfortunately, I do feel like there is a possibility of there being some level of corruption. I'm not going to say that Cristiano Ronaldo is completely false in his narrative and the way he looks at this. Now, obviously, he's frustrated with his team's inactivity at the transfer window, so that is probably the bigger component of all of this. But I'm not just going to give the Saudi League the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, they're squeaky clean, and owners would never be in cahoots with one another. There would never be some sort of anything nefarious going on. I don't tend to believe that. However, I just think that they're making a stand against Ronaldo, and what's so surprising to me about that, Ryan, is the fact that they're not bending to Ronaldo. Would the MLS respond the same way if Lionel Messi were to sit out for one reason or another, or claim his
bitch clearly?
Right.
We wouldn't even have this situation.
But imagining a different universe in which he does. I think the MLS would do anything at bended knee in order to make sure that he stays happy. But the Saudi League looking at Ronaldo and going, hey, dude, you're not above the rules and the laws and what we're trying to do. You're not above us. Just because you have the resume that you do, just because you are who you are, doesn't mean you just get to come in here and push everybody around. So it is fascinating to see the Saudi League stand up against Ronaldo, because I think on the other end, they understand what having him in the league does to the league. Kind of like Messi in the MLS. You immediately make the league relevant simply because you're in it. So as much as I'm sure they don't want to see this relationship sour, they also, on the other hand, realize, hey, man, if you're not out there playing and if the only thing that you're doing is burying us in the media and making us look a certain way, we just got to make sure that you understand you're not above the law, right? No one is above the law over here. But am I going to give the Saudi League the nod and be like, oh, yeah, they're squeaky clean and they don't do anything? No. I'm willing to admit that, and this time I can't say organization, because the organization, the Saudi League, not the actual teams. Those are clubs. There you go. Pro League. All right. Sorry. I'm learning. But there probably is something going up. But if you're Ronaldo, okay, that means you have to make a move. You got to get out of there. So at the end of the day, this relationship is completely soured between Ronaldo and the Saudi League. I just think that it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get sorted out. If anything, it's going to be like the Drake and Kendrick beef. It's just going to keep getting more and more petty. And so he needs to make a decision on where he wants to go. And I think it's a fun decision to talk about, because we already talked about him coming to the MLS, maybe going home to Portugal. different directions that he can go, but the relationship in my mind is effectively over, and I think this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg.
It, I would say cool down a little bit if it's over yet, because a lot of things can happen up until the transfer window and when he wants to leave. I think there's a lot of things that a lot of time and a lot of things that can happen. And if you're the Saudi Pro League here, you don't want to lose Ronaldo. So you're going to try again, they can say all they want, but behind closed doors
Yeah,
they're going to do everything they can to keep Ronaldo at in Saudi. So that's exactly what I see happening. Is the relationship sour? 100% it is soured. Is I like them saying like that no one is above the law here, but they're gonna eventually sit down with Ronaldo, one on one, I guess, with his agents or whatever, and all the higher ups in the Saudi Pro League. They're gonna sit down with him at some point here in the near future, I believe, and they're just gonna be like, all right. So how do we patch things? This is what just happened, but you can't be upset about this because this rule's in place, this rule's in place, this rule's in place, and ultimately, if he was like, you know what, that's dumb, I want out, then yeah, then I feel like we can eventually say that relationship is over. I wouldn't say it's over quite yet because it's February
yeah,
6th, and there is a lot of time before the transfer window. And look, Ronaldo can go anywhere he wants in the world. He can come to the USL if he truly wants to. I mean, that's totally up to
yeah,
him. But I mean, are people going to afford him? No, obviously not. But I also don't think money is an issue with Ronaldo anymore. If he really
yeah,
thinks, I mean, he's worth over $1 billion. I think he's made over $1 billion. So I,
yeah,
I, I don't think that he is money is an issue for him. So I think he would be gladly to take under what $250 million a year is whatever Saudi's given him. But Saudi has to know that a lot of people tune into games just for Ronaldo, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's 41 years old, and
yeah.
and he looks like he's 30 or 25 or something. So I think it's definitely
Yeah.
sour, but we are going to hear about it at some point. I think in the next upcoming weeks, maybe just over a month of. All right, they sat down with Ronaldo. They laid out the plan here. They laid out the reasoning why they're trying to patch things up here. But no, for right, I wouldn't say it's over yet.
Yeah, it would really take a concentrated effort from the Saudi league to be like, "Hey, man, we got to be on level terms here. You, us, everybody, we all got to get together. We all have to figure this out, hash this out." Because I realize they want to hold on to Ronaldo, but you also, even as a league, you have power in numbers, sure, but what you don't have is almost, I guess, in Ronaldo's mind or in his camp's mind, is like the right to say these things or to treat a player of his caliber that way, which is, I'm sure, what Ronaldo thinks at the same exact time. So, anyways, it is a messy situation, but it's gonna have to take a concentrated effort from the league if they want to keep Ronaldo around, because, like I said, I think he just has so many avenues and so many options and directions he can go if it doesn't end up working out. But it is surprising to see how gutsy they are in doing that. I wasn't necessarily expecting that
Yeah,
to
it's
per se.
felt like the last couple of years, like all these leagues, it's just been the players running stuff because ultimately, why do people come and watch this stuff? I mean, it's for the
Yeah.
players and everything, but we've starting to see some pullback from these organizations, the NCAA, obviously, Saudi Pro League. I mean, you can argue if Ronaldo's getting paid way too much. I mean, I think $250 million a year to play soccer is way too much. I also think that paying a quarterback like Carson Beck and Bryce Underwood almost $4 million a year is crazy to me. I think that is way too much money
What's
for those
crazier
guys.
is thinking of paying someone 250 million and they're not playing.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's the part
too.
for like the Saudi league. It's like, dude,
I mean, I
what are
hope
we
that he's
doing
getting
here?
fined. I hope he's breaching
Yeah.
some rules in their contract so the team in the league can save a little bit of money. But the thing that I find a little bit interesting about the quote is all these teams operate independently and wonder if like what truly is going on behind closed doors because it's Saudi, so it's definitely not clean. I mean, no league in this world is truly clean
Is
with
squeaky
their
clean. Yeah,
operations.
exactly.
But
Yep.
you wonder what things have allowed to go through that in normal leagues wouldn't go through. And
Hmm.
I'm curious. I would like to be a fly in the wall in some of these situations just to hear things. I mean, like if you think about it, flies have a lot of information. flies have a lot of information. We just don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
about it. Like,
Yep.
truly, like if there is a fly in one room about like political decisions or financial decisions of a massive company or an NFL war room or anything in sports really, like they have all this information that they probably forget about in like 30 seconds. How long is the memory of a fly? So I was actually looking up at the
If they understand English too. I mean, we gotta also factor in, do they, English or whatever other language is
oh
being
wow,
spoken.
it's 4 seconds.
All right. Well,
Wow, that's
I mean,
well.
they hear a lot of stuff though, I will say.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking at the
But
Team USA hockey Olympic schedule. They don't play till
when do they start? We don't even play we don't even talk about the Olympics. Man, the Winter Olympics is going on. We haven't even said anything.
I don't think a lot of people pay attention to the Winter Olympics unless like I personally have never really paid attention to it. I mean, a
I want
lot
to
of
do the
it
luge.
a lot of it is going on during school days and work days. Like the Summer Olympics is a little bit different because for the most part it's all played in the evening. This stuff is like happening like March Madness time, like noon
Yeah.
and like no one's
Yeah,
really
it's
gonna
true.
drop everything to see Shaun White on the half pipe. No one's gonna do that. Like
Oh,
if
come on. I didn't
some
even
people
include him in my list of gingers. He should have been, I feel like, towards the top of the list in gingers, at least in the top 5.
but like everyone's gonna
Mm.
tune in to see Furman upset Virginia in the NCAA tournament, but no one's gonna tune in to see the half pipe or anything. But no, the women's hockey team won the other day, so shout out to
Yeah,
them. But yeah,
5-1.
the men's doesn't play till next Thursday, according to this schedule on USAHockey.com. So
Who do
imagine
they
that's
start
right.
with?
But no, they've started technically, but I
Mm.
don't really follow it. I'll only follow the hockey team. That's about it. I don't really care about
Yeah.
skiing or snowboarding or half
I
pipe
mean,
or anything.
hockey we should be competitive. Should maybe go compete for a gold medal, but who knows, man? Sweden's good. Canada's good.
Yeah, their group
Uh
is Latvia, Denmark, and Germany, based on this schedule. And
so we'll be all right then. Germany's getting better, but Germany's always just kind of been when it comes to hockey. But anyways, stepping aside here for a moment, when we come back, we'll get into our final topic here in hour number 1 of our show. We got we're talking about, will the way the Super Bowl look impact how the FIFA World Cup looks? Is FIFA paying attention to the biggest sporting event here in the United States in order to maybe get some ideas for what's coming up in the World Cup? More on that coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Into our final segment here in hour number 1 on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, Grand Rapids, and Detroit areas, to be specific. Getting into our final topic here in hour number 1. Will the way the Super Bowl look impact how the World Cup looks. We already talked about some of the musical performances that are going to be going on at the World Cup, some of the other things happening in and around, how it's definitely Americanized, and I like that word that you used at the bottom. It has been dressed up to be a show in a lot of ways. And so will the way that our favorite moment, our favorite game in American sports every year, will that impact how the World Cup looks?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite every year.
Well, for the most part, I'm talking about just
majority
like
of
numbers
Americans?
overall. Yeah, I'm
Well, it's
talking
the most
about
viewed
like
for sure.
talking about
Most
that's what
money.
I'm saying. Like the bubble fans, the people who don't really watch sports, but they're like, ooh, Super Bowl, let me just, yeah, exactly.
Like, if Michigan
that's what
beats
I mean.
Ohio State in football every year, that's my favorite game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have even told I've told Emily, like, I don't be around me for that game. Every other day of the year, you're fine, but just don't be around me for that one.
My
yeah.
uncle told me during the Michigan State game this year that he moved in with his fiance, and this is the first time she's like experienced a Michigan State version of my uncle, and he goes, I'm sitting in the room, this is not gonna end well for Michigan State. Michigan's probably gonna win by a lot, but just please, like, just don't come in the room.
Yep.
Don't come in the room. And
Yep.
no, I think that
Yep.
was great. But yeah, no, I like
But-
saying Americanized, especially when it comes to soccer, because a lot of people get pissed off when you talk about soccer being Americanized because people just hate it being called soccer. Well, first off, they hate it being called soccer in general. When I was
in
watching,
general, yeah.
again, if anyone's got any FIFA World Cup moments, make sure you send it to us on socials. Creating that list right now. And when I was watching a video on how to create these ideas, someone was talking about the 2010 World Cup where the England goalkeeper Robert Green drops the ball in the net, and U.S. ties it up, and they're talking about it. Goes, and this one Brit's like, "Oh, sorry, soccer," and like they all get ticked about it, and I find it funny because like you're so butthurt about a word that doesn't truly like affect you. Like, it's just the word soccer. It's not anything bad, but no.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
most viewed-
And I mean,
so-
we're not the only ones too. So
I would say, based on the way that everything's been going on leading up to the World Cup, that I think they're going to take a look at the Super Bowl. I think if you're FIFA and the FIFA officials and with everyone involved, I think you will look at the Super Bowl and think, how do we try to implement ideas and elements of this into the World Cup, whether that be the World Cup final, maybe the opening match of the World Cup, or maybe other things, because to me the Super Bowl is obviously the most viewed sporting event in the world. Whether that's your favorite sporting event of the year, that's up for you to decide. But if you're a true sports fan, I'm sure there's other things that you like if your team does well. But I mean, you think about it, you have the commercials, you have how much money that you pay for a 15-second, 30-second ad is crazy. And then you have everyone wanting buffer days the next day for it. Then you have the halftime performance, and then the trophy celebration. Because like when there's trophy celebrations in soccer and it's being awarded, we don't have a platform. Well, there is technically a platform in the middle of the field, but all they do is they go grab their medals, they sit with the team, and then they raise the trophy, and all the interviews and all that stuff happens after the fact. They don't have a Gush or Joel Klatt, or Reese Davis at the podium asking Coach Signetti, Coach Belichick this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder if that maybe is a possibility. But I think of all the extracurriculars that are happening around the Super Bowl, surrounding it in terms of the performances, all the different celebrities, and there's probably going to be a halftime performance at the World Cup final, which has been rumored for a couple of months. But I think 100% they're going to look at this thing and be like, well, let's try to add this. Let's try to add this. And I think a halftime performance is going to be the first thing that they try to add.
Yeah, I mean, to answer that question, I think it already has impacted the way that the World Cup is going to look. I mean, the Super Bowl, this year's specific Super Bowl, yeah, maybe they look at it and they're like, okay, we could change this around, or maybe we could do this, or maybe we could try this, whatever that might look like. But no, it already has impacted the way it looked. FIFA has already done their homework, and they're like, this is what the American audience likes. This is what they get into. And you talked about the musical performances. they're going to have a Super Bowl style halftime show at the final on July the 19th at MetLife Stadium. They have a couple of featured musical performances, Robbie Williams, Andrea Bocelli, who's internationally renowned Village People. And there's a few others that they're going to bring on as well. So the entertainment component around the game, and creating almost like, again, a concert style look to it, and really dressing it up is already happening. It was already underway. And so I think it already has impacted the way that it is handled. Now, is that all a bad thing? No, not necessarily, because I like the effort that FIFA is putting into really dressing up these places and curating these hot spots for people to come and enjoy the game and enjoy everything else. But I like what you said about the media component of it, because those are the things that I wonder if that side is what changes the most. Obviously, the performances, the Super Bowl style, like those things it's probably going to be an annoyance for some people because they're used to seeing the game a certain way. But the media component, the media side of this talk is the side that I'm more curious to see. Is there, do we have more of an American look to like what we see on like a College Game Day? Are there going to be desks? Is it going to be like a production like that?
They've already been doing that. They've done that for the last couple. They've done it the last like 4 World Cups.
Yeah. So anyway, so I don't know what. It's true. But it's just I don't know what the specific additions are going to look like. All I know is that FIFA has already done their homework. FIFA already knows what it is. They know what they're getting into here in the US. And frankly, I think they see a lot of really good money-making opportunities here in this country with everything that they do. And I think that greatly benefits USA Soccer. But I do think for the rest of the world, it's a little annoying. Like, okay, like we know why you're going to the U.S., right? It's the almighty dollar sign. And now how can you make even more money? Well, you get live musical performances. Well, you have, all these other things that you add as entertainment in and around, because that's really going to draw in a lot of the money as well. That's going to be a good portion of the money that you're bringing in, because even here in the United States, like you go to a professional sporting event, like there's always something going on around the event. Not everybody is sitting there locked into the game. Like
people
especially like NFL, it's selling T-shirts. Like they're doing the carnival rides. They're throwing the ball. They're knocking the pins over. They're over here doing this. It's like, because I went to Soldier Field, and I remember I told you that I went to a rugby match, Ireland and New Zealand, at Soldier Field. Dog, there was nothing else going on. Like, yeah, there was food and beer open, but like that's it. Like everybody was in there locked watching that game, like locked on the game. And that was so crazy for me to see, because you got all these Irish people and these people from New Zealand, and I'm like, nobody's not watching the match right now. We don't have like girls over here, like 4 of them all taking selfies, and then we got the corporate couple off to my left that's like talking about their stocks. It's like, what? Like this is crazy. This is crazy, and that's what I love so much about it. So that's going to be a real clash of cultures when it comes to the American game. But I also just feel like the base of fans in soccer, they don't do that. They're not used to the distractions.
Well, if you look at American sports fans and the European sports fans, outside of college football, there's really everything
college
is kind of just
basketball.
an event. Like maybe the NFL.
Yeah.
But and if your team's that bad, everyone's just kind of there to just go to say they went to the game and talk to people.
Just to
tailgate.
take pictures,
Also,
for Instagram.
Also,
Yeah.
the tailgating I think is going to be interesting too, because they don't, in England or overseas, they don't tailgate. They just go to the pub and get wasted and then yell stuff at the opposing team.
That's true.
But they're going to see people parked outside their cars and be like, what are these guys doing?
What the hell's going on? You're drinking in the parking lot?
And and just looking at a couple things online here, a lot of experts have said that the 2026 World Cup will cater to a younger, diverse audience, focusing on creating a Super Bowl style event. And so, like, if we look at both of these things, if we look at European, all world soccer, whether that's European, South American, or anywhere, you're going there for the game. What if you're going to anything American sporting event? You're there for other things. You're there
for the event.
You're there for jersey retirement. You're there for the 50-cent beer night, which again I think they should bring that back. You're there for the dance team that goes during media timeouts. You're there for the guessing games on the jumbotron or like that. You're there for the musical performances. These American sporting events are simply there's other things going on. You're there to do other things. You're not there just for the event. And when you go watch soccer all over the world, you're there for the game and getting drunk. That's what you're there for. One of two things.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're looking at American sporting events, you're there for all these different things that are surrounding it. You're there for all the the dizzy bat thing, and people like try to win a race at a relay in between stuff. I mean, soccer, you can't really do that because, it's a continuous 45 minutes and then a halftime that continues 45 minutes. But you don't have all that extra stuff. In the Champions League, they have a pregame, musical performance. They have that, but, that's all it is. And you don't have all these extra things. But I think a lot of fans are going to have some culture shocks when they come to America to see all this stuff. I really want to see what they think about all the tailgating stuff. I'm really curious to think, why are you guys outside of your cars just drinking? Don't you guys go to a pub or something like that? But
don't you have an establishment for this, you animals?
Exactly. And we don't really have that type of culture here, and the culture everywhere else is kind of that. So I'm really curious to see, how these two things just kind of collide and what they really think about it. And maybe because I feel like we're making this a negative thing, but maybe they really kind of look at this and wow, man, let's adopt this to our stuff. Let's adopt this to our culture. Let's start tailgating a little bit instead of going to the pubs. But no, it's just a little bit interesting, and I want to see how these cultures collide. And if they're looking at the Super Bowl, what are they trying to pull from here and pull from there? But I think you're right. I think the plan's already in place, and they've already looked at the previous 5 Super Bowls and said, let's do this.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. You're right. I wouldn't look at it automatically as a negative and be like, "Oh, this is terrible. They're gonna hate it." They might like it. And the truth is for the amount of money that they're spending in order to go to the World Cup, you may as well introduce some other things in and around the event that they might like. That's going to get them the most money out of what they're spending in order to be there. And so I think, again, if these are things that you don't have to spend $1 billion on. But that is the American model. I mean, that is the way that it is, and especially that you're having it in major U.S. cities. It's going to be a lot easier getting these people, in and putting on these shows and doing these things. I just think FIFA realizes that, they're in the business of not just, the game, but also the entertainment component. And because it's in the U.S. and all the resources we have, I think they're just kicking it into overdrive because we've been talking about it already, and we've heard people say it on this show. We had Alexi Lawless on, we've had other people on, but they all say the same thing. This is going to be the biggest World Cup ever because of just the sheer capacity of it, and it's in the U.S. and it's in these major cities. So that is
bigger.
In the stadiums. Yeah, stadiums are much bigger. So it's not necessarily a negative through and through. I'm just kind of making an observation to say, I mean, the difference between, and I've never been to Europe. That's still on my bucket list of things I want to do before I croak, before I'm out of here. I want to go to see a match in whether it be Spain or France or Europe. Croak. I don't know if that's a big word, but
I've never heard someone say before I croak. I've never heard that from somebody. Usually they say before I'm gone.
I hope you're writing these ones. That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I mean, you got older people around you. They should know that one. But anyways, but yeah, I heard my father use it once. But either way, I haven't gotten to check that off the list yet. But experiencing non-American fans in America kind of gave me a look as to okay, this is the difference. The rugby crowd didn't have any issues with tailgating. I don't know if Irish people already tailgate. They probably do.
They drink a
I don't
lot
know
of
about
beer
New
anyway.
Zealand. I guess it really doesn't matter where it happens, but it happens. So it's definitely going to be different. But again, different is not necessarily bad. And I do like the idea that they are catering to the younger generation with it.
Yeah, I wonder if, in the 1994 World Cup opening ceremony, if they're going to have Diana Ross run all the way down the field again and then kick the ball, and then the goal just separates and she misses it by 5 yards, the goal. So I wonder if that will happen. I mean, maybe we got to look back in 1994 and see exactly what truly happened. And there's a lot of moments in that World Cup that we'll be discussing here over
Yeah.
the next couple of months. I'm really excited about that little project that we'll be doing here on the National Soccer Network. But
I'd
no,
love to dedicate an episode to talking about, maybe not a whole episode, but maybe a stretch of time to talk about the '94 World Cup and what that did to impact USA Soccer. But anyways, go ahead.
lot, I'm sure, an absolute
Yeah.
lot, or absolutely a ton. But
Yeah. So let's take a quick step aside. When we come back, we'll get into some of our all sports content. We got a lot of good content on that end. But Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States, designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I see my son grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Inside the Game, live across your airwaves here on the National Soccer Network, getting into our all sports content, hour number 2 here on Inside the Game, episode 224, Ryan. As the saga with Skubal and the Tigers continues, obviously the biggest storyline this week has been the acquiring of Framber Valdez, who's been in the league since 2018. We talked about his numbers yesterday. We ran through it. But adding another top-end arm to that rotation, a lefty that throws hard. And you put on the prep sheet this morning, is it World Series or bust time for the Tigers? Is the window now for this organization? I think the window has been there, and I think it is certainly here. But what says you? I'll let you kind of get your point out there, because I really do think that it's time to strike when the iron is hot, and I think the iron is steaming right now.
It's been hot. The window's been now. I think ultimately when you lost to the Guardians a couple years ago in Game 5, that's when everything started. Like, you had to go, not necessarily all in, but you needed to start adding pieces to your team to make sure that you could do almost everything you could in your power to win a World Series, or at least compete for a World Series. And last year, it still didn't feel like they added enough, but you added Gleyber Torres to the mix, and then you re-signed Jack Flaherty. You give Alex Cobb $15 million. Still stupid. You bring up Dingler.
He was great for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, it was like 2 innings pitched here and there. We're great. I'm glad he made $15 million. And then you bring up Dingler to upgrade your catcher position. So they made a couple of moves, but it seemed really half-assed to me. It seemed really half-assed from the Tigers organization. And then you had the hot start that they did. They had the hot start, and then eventually, things catch up to them, and they crumbled. They give up the division. They were up by like 15 games or something like that. And ultimately, they beat the Guardians in the first round and then lose to the Mariners in 5. And then you had all the amount of all-stars that you had, which one of them is suspended for marijuana for the World Baseball Classic. Shout out you, Javi. For being suspended for marijuana, which I didn't even think you could be suspended anymore. But you look at this rotation now, and there's like almost, I think it's like 80 million or 85 million, 90 million that's dedicated to 3 pitchers now with Skubal and Valdez and now and Flaherty, obviously. And when I looked at that rotation last year, it seemed like Skubal, you knew exactly that you were going to be in the game the whole time. Flaherty, it depended on the day if he was good or bad. And then Olson got hurt. Mize was inconsistent, and then it was just pitching chaos. Look, I like the idea of pitching chaos, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think you can win a World Series with just pitching chaos all over the place. You got to eventually have some studs, and you eventually got to have some aces, and I think they have 2 at the moment with Valdez and Skubal, and those 2 together, and now you don't have to, like, it felt like when we were talking about the Tigers last season, the year prior, it was we trust the Tigers to win a 3-game series, and we trust the Tigers to win a 5-game series. Why? Because you have Skubal for 2 games in the 5 series, and you have Skubal at least once in the 3-game series. But once we get to a 7-game series, we're not so confident in the Tigers of winning that because you got to win 4, and Skubal, can you even get him to a third start in a Game 7? So that was always the question. But now I look at this Tigers team, and I feel much more confident in winning a 7-game series. And if you want to win a World Series, you have to win 2 7-game series. And I feel much more confident now with Valdez being there and Flaherty, because I feel like the pressure's a little bit taken off Flaherty and Mize and those guys because you added another ace to help with Skubal. But to say World Series or bust, I personally think it is, because when you have the best pitcher in baseball, or like if you have the best quarterback in the NFL, the best point guard in the NBA, you got to try to win it, because how often are you going to get that? And the Tigers have shown that they have had the best pitchers in baseball a couple of times, and they have the staff to do so. But the only thing that still worries me about the Tigers team is the bats. Like, you're really banking on if Riley Green's taking that next step, Spencer Torkelson taking that next step. Can Javi Baez be a little bit more consistent? And also, is Kevin McGonigal, are we going to trust a 21-year-old that hasn't played in the majors yet? Is that what we're going to trust as our next bat? Like, look, if you can play, you can play, but it's hard to trust something that's not there. And I honestly think that I would say it's World Series or bust for the Tigers, but looking at it, I don't think they win a World Series. I don't know if they even get to a World Series, but my confidence in them is definitely grown.
It's hard to think about a World Series just simply because of the juggernauts that you have out there in the world when it comes to Major League Baseball. The Dodgers, yeah, sure, but there's other teams with massive payrolls. But when I think about this conversation, it really is not pitching in my mind. The one thing that we've known, it's been the chef special for the Tigers organization really since Scott Harris got in there, is pitching and pitching development, and just even developing at the major league level, which I think is something that people forget about. Like, once you get to Major League Baseball, like, you don't develop anymore. That's not true. You are still very much developing at the major league level, and we've seen that development. We saw it with Reese Olson. We saw it with Troy Melton. We've seen it with Jackson Jobe. Now, obviously, Jobe has not been able to stay healthy, but the pitching staff is just, it's not a concern. It's not a concern at all for me, because this is an organization that has created a pitching machine, and they are consistently one of the best staffs in Major League Baseball. And I know that pitching chaos doesn't sit well with some people. For what it's worth, we weren't the first to do it. The Rays were one of the first organizations to do it, in which they would throw out 2 starters every game. They would have a starter and a piggyback, and then everybody else kind of gravitated towards it. And the analytics show that if you have a bullpen that is deep enough, that has enough stuff, you play the matchups, you're going to win more games. That's just the way organizations are going. And obviously, when you're able to foster one of the best bullpens in baseball, you want to be able to rely on them in high leverage situations. But stepping beyond that conversation, because I know we like to fixate on the Game 5 thing that happened, which I know that you and I, disagree on some of those points, but I'm not at all really concerned about the pitching. I'm really not. And to be frank with you, and this might sound sacrilegious to Detroit fans, even if Tarek Skubal's not here, I'm still really not all that concerned about the pitching. I think I think the pitching development is one of the best in baseball. However, on the other side of this conversation is where things start to get a little dicey for me, because I was asked this question before last year started. Do we trust the kids, or do we try to make a big free agent signing? Do we go get an Alex Bregman or whoever it is? can you, and I do think you can do both. I really do think you can do both. And so that is going into this year. It's the first part of the conversation is, Riley, okay, you are supposed to be the heart and soul of this team on the offensive side. You are supposed to be the guy. You hit a lot of home runs. You can't really stay healthy. That's something that's a major concern. And I know a lot of Tigers fans feel uneasy about that. But you have to be the guy because you were crowned the guy. I think for a lot of people, Riley Green is a leader for a long time in this offense. And you have to put out consistent results. And not only that, you got to stay on the field consistently because we can't have you this Jekyll and Hyde where you're just not available. And then you go through obviously droughts and spurts where you're just not hitting the baseball. For the amount of hype you had coming in as a prospect, that can't be the case. Spencer Torkelson, you were the chosen one. Like, you were the far and away number one selection in the draft in which you came out of, and he's made tremendous progress. We need you to be better in big moments. We can't have opposing pitching staffs just throwing slider after slider after slider because they understand that eventually you're going to swing and miss at one of them. It almost feels like the Javi approach sometimes with
Bro,
not
Javi
with
just
Tarek,
be
but
guessing when he's swinging.
Well, that's true. Yeah, he'd
I'm
just be
swinging
swinging
this
at
one. I
anything.
didn't swing the last one. I'm swinging at this one.
Right. So those two guys, we got to step it up. Kevin McGonigal, I do think he's going to make an immediate impact at the major league level. I know that it's hard for people to think a 21-year-old, but again, it's one of those things. If you see the guy in person and you understand what the bat can do, he might have a big time learning curve. That's how it goes for some of these guys when you get to Major League Baseball, but I think it's going to happen. Parker Meadows, can you stay on the field consistently and be healthy and continue to produce? That's another player that his impact in the outfield is immense. The amount of ground he can cover, he has an NBA body. Like the way that he's built like an NBA player.
Be a full,
and like he can cover. Yes, he can cover an entire
Parker Meadows.
Yeah,
welcome to the team.
He can probably cover an entire court in 7 steps. So the impact he has, along with Riley Green in the outfield, great. We need more production out of the bat. Kerry Carpenter, it's hard to really critique that guy because of how many big moments he's had in the postseason and just how impactful he's been. So Kerry, I'm going to lay off of a little bit because I think if anybody deserves maybe some kudos for what they've done, it's Kerry Carpenter.
Two
but
of the biggest
anyways,
homers in 5 years.
I've left people off the list of going down the list of the offensive players, but no, we need to be able to produce runs in high leverage situations. The organization has done everything they can to get as much toothpaste out of the tube as humanly possible. They've put you in consecutive game 5s. They've put you in that spot. And then we got to go 16 innings because we can't scrape across more than a run. And I mean, a lot of those, how many bases? I think we had 2 bases loaded situations, 2 bases loaded opportunities. Couldn't do anything with it. So that's true. So, but that is the organization, I think, with the pitching and not the pitching alone. There's been good offensive spurts here or there, but majority of the pitching is the reason why we've gotten there. Now we got to hit the ball. Or we got to find someone to come up big in those situations. And with all the kids, the promised ones, someone's got to find their moment.
Would you compare this rotation to Justin Verlander, Scherzer, Porcello, Price, and Sanchez?
No, but that team's pen was also terrible. So like the comparison that I made about driving the sports car, sports cars are cool and fun until you crash it, and then insurance sucks. So, So there's no real safety valve.
I like the point that you brought up about even if Scooble's not here, could they win the division? And I think so. So just looking at this real quick. So if you were to take Scooble's $32 million out of the picture and just say we traded him for so and so, the Tigers are currently projected $205 million in their payroll. You take 32 million out of it, you're looking at 170, 175, 180, whatever you really want to call it. That's still the most in the AL Central. We're looking at the Kansas City Royals as the second closest team with $146 million in their payroll. That's 18th best in the MLB. We look at the Twins, $108 million. That's 22nd. We look at the Chicago White Sox, $86 million. That's 27th. And the Cleveland Guardians, 28th with $82 million projected payroll. Obviously, some of this stuff can change before the start of the season. But the Tigers, 11th in payroll right now and $205 million. And look, that's with Scooble. We still have Scooble. It's not like he's gone, but we're looking at this team, Nate, and I look at it. I think you could have still won the division without Skubal. So
Yeah.
would you rather have this is a good question, I think, if you take out Skubal, let's say we traded Skubal and we still got like an MLB, say we got an everyday third baseman. We got an everyday
Yep.
third baseman that, again, not the best third baseman in the league, but an all-star third baseman. Would you take we traded Skubal away and we got, and let's just go apples to apples. We get a third baseman, everyday third baseman. Would you take that everyday bat over Tarek Skubal?
Yeah,
With
you're putting me
Valdez
on the
being
spot.
here.
You're putting me on the spot with this one. My guess is not only are you going to get an everyday third baseman, but you're also going to get a haul too.
Yeah.
Which means you're gonna free up cap space. You're also gonna get obviously future draft picks. Or you're gonna get a lot of capital. Sorry, not draft picks. You're probably gonna get a lot of prospects. Prospects, that's it. So it's not just gonna be the one player. I mean, it's gonna be an absolute haul, especially for someone like Tarek Skubal and the money component.
Immediate impact on the 2026 team of you get an
I
everyday.
I would say yes, man. And it is, as much as that hurts me to say that, and I'm sure that you're going to probably do the honors of cutting that up and putting that on social media. So screw you ahead of time, because I know that people are not going to be happy with me about that. And that doesn't mean that I don't want Tarek Skubal. If this was a perfect world, and if we were playing MLB The Show right now, and I could find a way to keep him on my team forever and ever, yeah, absolutely I would. I would never want to get rid of him. But if we're playing, again, if we're just doing the comparison game and we're thinking about the haul we could get, or if we could get a bat that we know is going to be able to anchor this lineup in an everyday third baseman, yeah, probably. I mean, what would you do?
I would take the bat, because I'm looking at the team as a whole and just couldn't hit the ball, and it felt like it was a chore watching the Tigers from August on. It genuinely felt
runners
like
in scoring position was brutal. It was
Yes.
absolutely brutal.
And the park
terrible.
benefits the Tigers so much, Comerica, because you can get a runner from first to third if you just hit one,
From a
kinda-
pitching perspective too. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's just like it just felt like a chore when it comes to hitting. Like, look, I love any CMU guy. McKinstry, you can't be an everyday player. Like, just can't happen. Like, I like McKinstry. I think he's a plug and play guy. He's a utility guy, and you can put him in certain spots, especially defensively. But he can't be an everyday guy. And then we look around the diamond, and it's like, do we really trust Javi Baez to be an everyday guy? Like, he gets random spurts throughout the year, and I remember his 2 homers against the Red Sox in their early going of the year, and that was amazing. But it just feels like it feel from a pitching perspective and a bullpen perspective, I think it's the best. It's top. It's as best as it's as good as it comes in the MLB. But when I look at the bats and the offense, Gleyber Torres, would he be playing on a World Series contender team? Maybe. Javi Baez, not starting. Kerry Carpenter, I could see him starting. Riley Green, I could see him starting. Dingler, I could see starting. Torque, no. Colt Keith, maybe. Maybe not. McKinstry, hell no. Parker Meadows, probably.
Yeah, I forgot about Colt Keith and that whole going down the line conversation. You got the offer, man. You got the money. You got the contract. We got to see it now.
McKinstry, no. Javi, no. And I think that's all I can remember. That's all I can think of. I think that's all the offensive players. But anyway, Jahmai Jones, no. By the way, he's repping Korea in the World Baseball Classic. So shout out to him, Jahmai Jones. But no,
nice.
it just feels like offensively, it's not serious. It just feels like let's just throw a whole bunch of guys at, like we talked about with the soccer conversation of you're going to throw enough darts at the dartboard. Eventually, you're going to land a couple, and that just kind of feels what it looks like when it comes to bats with this Tigers team. But I feel like if they just took the offense seriously just a little bit, I could see them in the World Series. And I feel like we can say the Dodgers this, the Dodgers that. There's no point of playing because they're so good. I would like to see them against the Tigers pitching staff. I really would. I'd really like to see them against the Tigers pitching staff.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because pitching chaos works. Hitting chaos generally doesn't work.
Like,
you gotta have a set list of guys that like well, I can plug and place these dudes wherever on the lineup, depending on what the matchup is. But I got a core guys that I know can go out and
Like,
match.
if I
I
were
think
to-
about who I think about in that situation. I think of Philly. I think of the likes of Castellanos, Schwarber, Harper. Like that we got at least a collection of guys that can mash, like absolutely mash. Everybody else that we fill that lineup out with, whatever, we'll figure it out along the way. But like, that's who I think of with like, if we had like a Philly style offense combined with what we can do from a pitching perspective. Oof.
That's
Yeah.
why I felt like we should, I hope at the deadline they're able to. Hopefully the Tigers are in a spot where they can add and they're in a spot to win. I did have another point, but I completely. Oh, I like our odds if they can roll into LA for the World Series and Shohei, Freeman, Hernandez, Betts. I like rolling out Skubal, Valdez, Flaherty, mixing a pitching chaos day. Like, I like that. Shohei, I didn't even say Shohei. Like, I like that. Like, I like now the other side of the
little bats
baseball,
that could for the Tigers.
the other side. Oh man, we might score 2.
Just lay down bunts.
We might score 2 runs in 4 games, but
Just lay down bunts the whole time. Just lay them down. Keep laying them down and
bunts,
running. Yeah.
steals, sac flies.
Yep.
Put it in the outfield.
Distractions on the base paths. Yeah.
But
whatever
no,
we
like,
can do.
And from a pitching perspective, I really like it, but an offensive perspective, jeez. I don't know. I really gotta trust McGonigal. I really gotta trust him.
Yep. And I think those other guys are Briseño and Clark. Who knows? I think they might need another year. But I think that McGonigal, I mean, is the second highest rated prospect in Major League Baseball, according to most places. But I mean, he's number 1 to me, at least from what I've seen. So anyways, I think it's hard to say World Series or bust just because we know what we've seen out of this team in terms of the postseason and how they've fallen short and how, the different things that have happened. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, yeah, well, you either win a World Series or nothing, because they haven't proven that they can even get there. They've been letdowns in game 5s, and they've, between both Cleveland and Seattle, you got to prove to me that you can get there before I start talking about World Series or bust. However, in terms of contracts, in terms of money, in terms of everything else along those lines, there's going to be a lot of people that need extensions in the coming years. There's going to be a lot of people that need to they need to make some big decisions on a lot of those core pieces that, again, they've been building up really since the end of the Avila era to when Scott Harris got in there. So kind of like the Lions, I feel like the Lions in a way in the same situation. Like, there was that window. Like, we had Ben Johnson, we had Aaron Glenn, who was much better as a coordinator than he is as a head coach, at least from what we've seen so far. But we had those guys. We had a healthy offensive line. We had 2 backs. We had a defense that was doing what they were doing and really kind of pushing teams around. And we squandered it. And now it's almost kind of like we're not starting over again, but we're certainly starting from a place of we need to fix this. I feel the same way about the Tigers right now. Like, we're kind of entering that, okay, win now. Because the rebuild, quote unquote, you're right. It's over. It's done. The rebuild is over. Now it's time to go out and win. Even if it's just one. Like, that can change everything about a city and an organization, and going out and just winning one. So it's
84.
And so that's the other part. Like, if you have Skubal and he's on your team, and he's going to be, and you get to the deadline or anything else, you have the most valuable trade asset in baseball right now, outside of the other guy that we compared him to on Who to Bet the other day, in Paul Skeens. Like, he is the best trade prospect there is in the game, especially from a pitching perspective. Obviously, he doesn't hit, but so you kind of hold all the cards right now if you're the Tigers. Now, how they play them is going to make a big difference in how we see this team moving forward and how we think they're going to end up finishing things out. But I hope they play the cards the right way, because they have a massive opportunity in front of them. And I don't see anybody else, if they play their cards right, that can hang with them in the Central. I think if there's anything this year, I think I'm more sure than any other year before that they are the team to win the Central. So
I sure hope they win the Central, especially based off last year and that blown lead. Like real quick, would you have? Because I've heard this a couple of times. Would you have rather had the Guardian season last year or the Tiger season last year? Like if you could flip-flop, would you have rather won the division then lost at home in the wild card to a division rival, and then that team loses in dramatic fashion in Game 5 to the Mariners? Or would you have rather had exactly what the Tigers did, blow the division lead, win a wild card series again, and then lose in Game 5?
I don't care about conference titles or division titles or anything else. I mean, I just don't, it doesn't bother me. Like what matters is the big one. And if we got farther than you guys did, and at least we took it to a Game 5, it's cool with me. I mean, yeah, hang the banner, cool. You won the division, but you really didn't do much after that. So unfortunately, there's a history of that happening in Cleveland. I don't know what's their World Series drought, 70 some odd years. I think it's the biggest in baseball.
Well,
so
they didn't win the town didn't win a title for 50 years until
until
LeBron
Braun came back. Yeah. Right, in 2016.
So 2016 would be the last one. And I mean, the Browns suck. The Cavs typically suck. Guardians, Indians, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Wild Thing was pretty sweet back in the day. He was a good pitcher in the MLB.
Yeah.
But is there another Cleveland team? Yeah, because they don't have a hockey team. So
yeah, the Cleveland Monsters. There you go. I don't know who they're affiliated with in the NHL, but yeah, there's an AHL team in Cleveland. But shout out to all my my Cleveland friends. I think I got one of them that actually watches this show from time to time. It's they're loyal though. I'll give you that much. Midwest fan bases are going to show up regardless.
Blue Jackets
Columbus.
is with their affiliate.
Oh, they're affiliated with Columbus. Okay. All right. Why was I thinking somebody else? Anyways. But yeah, no, I've seen the Cleveland Monsters.
Oh, by the way, if you're watching on Sports Nation, URI hockey tonight against Drexel. Make sure you watch that at 4 o'clock today.
All right. Little ACHA hockey action. It's the best, man. Sometimes it's better than the NCAA. Look at the Southern schools like Louisville and Kentucky. They get into that so bad because they don't have any NCAA. They don't have an NCAA team, so that's like
it's
their
also
hockey
Louisville
team
versus Kentucky. Anything big is anything in a rivalry because Kentucky doesn't have pro teams and anything.
To be frank with you, I think that rivalry is even more petty than Michigan State. I'm just throwing that out there. Like
I haven't experienced it from like a social media standpoint or like friends or anything, so I can't deny or confirm that take from you. Yeah, so I'll take your word for it.
We're getting into Super Bowl snacks on the other side of this commercial, but we wanted to tell you about Man City Soccer Camps. They are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. Back live and Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Give us a follow, and also follow Sports Nation TV as well. I know we've been posting a lot on that platform. We're going to bring you that conversation we had just a moment ago about Tarek Skubal and the Tigers. And Facebook has been popping off. I know we kind of, I guess, early on in the social media game here at NSN didn't post nearly as much on Facebook, at least our clips, but you guys are certainly appreciating a lot of that we're doing. I know we have a strong Michigan foundation with a lot of our followers, so I've been getting a lot of attention for those takes. But anyways, wherever your preferred social media platform is, make sure you give us a follow. National Soccer Network or Sports Nation TV. Again, it's all one thing. It's under one big umbrella, the Premier Media Group. Also, we continue to promote you to share your live comments. We love getting the opportunity to talk about those, and this is just as much your show as it is our show. We want to give you guys a platform, be able to ask questions, and give us an opportunity to talk about it, get involved inside the game. But Ryan, as we've talked about, the biggest event in terms of viewership and people following the event in American sports year after year is coming up, the Super Bowl between the Seahawks and the Patriots. People are already picking sides. I don't really fall on either. So I don't really have a horse in the race, to be frank with you. I don't really care. Andy Dalton, I guess, is the reason why I'm cheering.
I have a
You
reason,
have a reason
why I want my team.
Okay.
I got a reason.
All right. Okay. Well, lay it out. No, I'm listening. You can get to snacks here in a minute. I want to hear it.
I want the Seahawks to win because of one reason. One of them coached at Michigan at some point. And I hope like 15, 20 years down the line, if everything matches up, Mike Macdonald needs a head coaching gig, and he's done well wherever he's gone, whether that's a coordinator or head coach. Michigan's got the opening. Mike Macdonald needs a job. I mean, and everyone falls in love with the Michigan man, and he's been here, and I look at that, and that's why I hope that if the Lions aren't in a Super Bowl or anything, and the Ravens are, I hope Minter wins a Super Bowl because, again, down the line, because of one thing. If I look at this, Jim Harbaugh. My dad said during the Ravens-Niners Super Bowl that he was rooting for the Niners because Harbaugh wins Super Bowl eventually. He needs a job down the line, which he did. Michigan job opening pops up. That Harbaugh will take the Michigan job, and during his time there, won't want to go back to the NFL, and because he already has that Super Bowl. He won't be obligated to go back, per se. Now I hope that McDonald, wins Super Bowl this year. I mean, the guy is like 40 or 39, 41, 42. Like, he's young for a coach. And let's just say Seahawks get rid of him at some point, and maybe he takes another NFL job, and that one doesn't work out well. Michigan needs a new football coach. Like, hire Mike Macdonald. And he already has that Super Bowl in his back pocket where he doesn't feel obligated to go back to the NFL at some point down the line. He just focused strictly on Michigan, and we don't have the NFL antics every single offseason. But no, that's why I want the Seahawks to win because, down the line, maybe McDonald needs a job, doesn't need to go back to the Super Bowl. But no, that's simply why I want the Seahawks to win.
And I also think it'd be nice to maybe build the case against the allegations that it was nothing more than the cheating that made Michigan win during that time that they were really good. Now, maybe it could be that we just had really good coaches and a really good support staff and a really good team and all those things. So if there's ever going to be a counter argument against, the Michigan simply cheated and that's the only reason why they won a championship, I've always said, like, it's not going to be like 1 or 2 years down the line. It's going to be just wait to see what these guys do in the NFL. And then maybe we can circle back to this conversation years from now and be like, well, they won a couple of Super Bowls. They did this, they did that. Like, really, if you thought it was all the signs, I don't know. Maybe I'm obsessing over this a little bit more than what I should, but it's just always rich when you see people immediately take everything away from what Michigan football has done because we stole a couple of signs. Well, we didn't have Connor Stalions for the most important games of the year that we ended up winning every game.
Oh my God, people don't realize that.
It's wild. Yeah, it's just crazy. Anyways, like teams never change their signs in between games. Never heard of that before.
Ohio State changed all of their signals before 2022 game, and that's still
we still knew, man. We still knew somehow. But getting into this topic a little bit, our top Super Bowl snacks, top 5. That is Super Bowl snacks.
Here's your list.
All right, here's my list. I'm a little all over the place. Sliders. Now I said burgers to begin with, and he's like, "That's
Can't
not a
have
snack." And
burger.
I'm like,
That's a meal.
"That's fair. That's fair."
main
Okay,
course.
sliders. We did used to have sliders at my dad's buddy Don had a big Super Bowl party every year, so there'd be sliders. There would also be chips and queso. I can mess up some chips and queso. Whenever I get paid, my first stop, generally speaking, is Chipotle or Qdoba. And
For
yeah,
chips
the
and
burrito is
queso?
great. Dude, the family bag of chips and the queso, yes, it will be gone. It will all be gone, along with the burrito. So,
I can't say I
chips
ordered
and queso is great.
The only time I've ever gotten
You don't get
chips and-
chips and queso from Chipotle?
No. Why would I do that? When I could just go to Kroger, buy a Kroger brand of queso for like $2, and then just buy a Kroger brand of chips for like $4 and have like 4 different things. The only
Do you
time
also
I've-
not get cookies from Subway because you can just go buy cookies and make them yourself?
I have not been to Subway in years, so I honestly have no idea.
Did you go? Were you in the towers at CMU?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I never bought a cookie.
There's a Subway literally at the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's probably why I haven't been back.
That's funny. Yeah, me too. For a while, there was a gap there for sure. I was more of a Jimmy John's guy after my freshman year at CMish. So,
But no,
but cool.
I don't buy the extra stuff because the only time I've ever gotten chips and queso was my first time, and I went up to the lady. I go, look, this is within walking distance of the dorms. I've heard good things about it, but like you got to tell me like what do I do here? And she's like, oh, so we asked for rice. What type of rice? We asked for protein. She's like, queso, that's extra. I was like, okay, I can't really afford that. And then she's like, gets to the end. She goes, all right, since this was your first time, we'll give you chips and queso for free and hope you come back. I was like, oh, I'm coming back. Don't you worry. Never order chips and queso again. But I get Chipotle, but I never order chips and queso.
Hey man, you got grown man money now. You're making money. You can get the chips and
It's about the
queso.
physique.
You know, I
you gotta
get
keep the physique going.
Oh, okay. All right, I see what it is. All right, hey man, dad bods are in. I'm just saying. Number 3 on the list, I'm gonna go Cool Ranch Doritos. Again, one of those things I could just polish off an entire bag. Doritos are terrible for you. Doritos could kill a horse with how many preservatives they have in them. But the truth is that man, it just tastes great. And yeah, I don't mind the spicy nacho or whatever,
Those
or
are
the
good.
nacho cheese. They're good, but I'm a Cool Ranch guy through and through. I
That's why a
love,
lot of
especially
our
when you get to
food
the
is
bottom of the
banned
bag.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably why those British guys that came over to tour Michigan, it's probably why they ended up, not doing all too well, not doing all too hot. They just had too many, microplastics in their food.
Probably gained a couple pounds too.
Yeah, that too. Pigs in a Blanket is number 4. Little hot dogs wrapped in the croissant. Yeah, that's yup. And obviously something to dip it in. I'm a honey mustard guy. Love barbecue too, so that's pretty good. Yeah, my sister Grace rather makes cake pops. You've had cake pops before, right? Like they're the little like cake balls on top of the stick. Yeah, and they're like dipped in like what it is, some sort of coating or whatever. Yeah, those I can mess those up. So obviously was living back at home for a while, a little while back, and she was there, and you talk about packing off weight. There's a few different surefire ways to do that. Either number 1, work at a fast food place or a place like Little Caesars. I did that. McDonald's, Little Caesars, shout out. Or live in a place where someone likes to bake all the time. You will put on weight. So that's my top 5 right there. Love me some sliders, pigs in a blanket. I like chips, clearly, and I love cake pops, and that's a yearly tradition in the fam.
All right, my top 5. I'm gonna go 5 up to 1. Number 5, pineapple and strawberries. Like I swear to God, I could eat a whole. I could
fruit.
I love pineapple and strawberries, man.
You aren't kidding about the physique, man.
No,
you eating fruit on Super Bowl day?
No, like they generally every family function. There's always pineapple and strawberries out, and I swear
It's good.
to God, I eat.
It's very good.
I love that stuff. That stuff is so good. Number 4. This is a strict thing. A BJ's chocolate chip cookie from Berkeley Jensen's. Don't get everyone's mind in the gutter. Here, the cookies.
Never been.
The cookies at BJ's Wholesale. I don't know what's put in it. One of my cousins is a manager downriver for one. And I asked him, I go, what do you guys put in there? He goes, honestly, I don't even know. But he's like, they're the greatest thing ever. Like, this is the greatest cookie known to mankind. The BJ's Wholesale chocolate chip cookie. I don't know what they put in them, but like
Is it just soft?
I don't know. It's just so good. Like,
So how is it? So if I were to compare it to Crumble, like how is it compared to Crumble cookies?
Crumble's
You had
so
a
overrated.
Crumble.
Crumble is such an
All right.
overrated place. It's like the perfect amount of chocolate chip cookies, like per capita of the cookie itself. It's like, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's so good. You just got to try it yourself, and you will like realize how it's probably just a whole bunch of sugar, but like it's so good.
You gotta teach this West Side guy about what it means to have a BJ's chocolate chip cookie, because I have no idea what you're
It's so
talking
good.
about.
3 boneless chicken wings, and I put the emphasis on boneless because I don't like working for my food. Like, I'm there.
Thank you.
I'm there.
Thank you.
I'm there. I don't
Thank
want
you.
to like eat around a bone. No, I want the
Mhm.
chicken.
Thank
I want
you.
the glorified chicken nuggets.
Yup.
I want the glorified chicken nuggets with everything. Like,
I want
I'm
them
not
thick
trying to
chicken
sit there
nuggets.
with the bone and do this and try to mess around there and then throw it on the plate. Hands get all dirty. You gotta
Yep.
put the
Yep.
fork in, knife if you really want to cut it. If it's too big, cut it up, pop it
Yep.
in. Perfect. All right, number 2. Owen's mom's buffalo chicken dip. Again, this is a very specific thing. One of my good friends and good roommates in college, his mom made buffalo chicken dip. It's the greatest thing known to mankind. That is like, it is that specific. It is so good. Any type of chip works with it. I've even done Cheez-Its in it. It's so good. You can do anything.
Ooh.
You can use wheat thins. You can do anything. It's a perfect plug and play type of dip. You can use anything, any situation. It's so good. It's perfect. And then number 1, pigs in a blanket. Like, I love this. I love these things. Like, it's so good.
So easy.
Like, honestly,
It's
I
so
could
easy,
probably
too.
dip pigs in blanket in Owen's mom's buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
I probably could.
That's fair.
I could probably
That's
stick.
fair.
Yeah, I could. 100%. Like, it's a plug and play dip, and you put the pigs in the blanket in there. Like, they're so warm.
Yeah.
They're so good. Like, it's bite size. Just, I always eat all of them. I'm not going to lie. But, like, no. This is, like, undefeated, never lost. Shout out LeVar Ball. Like, no. This is unbelievable.
The only thing I'm picturing right now is like we're listing off our top 5 in terms of snacks. Like, how is your stomach feeling if we're combining all these things all into one? You know, I think about mine. Like,
for the next couple of days.
Yeah, pretty gnarly. If I were to imagine. So, I mean, that's something up there. It's probably up there with like the Thanksgiving food coma, which if you've ever been in a food coma, it's not voluntary. Like, it just happens, you know. And so
I feel like
yeah,
if you're
probably,
in a food coma
ooh.
after like Thanksgiving, like you're just old at that point. Because like I remember as a kid, I was never like ate all the food, never in a food coma. Like always had all this energy.
Oh, heck
and
yeah.
then like
Heck yeah.
then like the last couple of years, it's like, dude, I need to sleep.
I need to slow down.
Like it
I need
feels
to
like
take
I
a
have just
break.
hit the I'm cooked status, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah. Taking a step aside here on Inside the Game, that's a great list. It's a good top 5 list. Hope everybody enjoys their Super Bowl. Let us know who you think, who you're polling for in this what feels like a rematch, long overdue, a decade later, between the Seahawks and the Pats in the Super Bowl. Let us know who you think. Let us know what your favorite snacks are here on Inside the Game. But when we come back, I'm going to talk a little college football recruiting. Also, you had mentioned, we talked about the Saudi leagues, standing up to Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, another organization standing up and really kind of not putting the hammer down, but, putting their foot down and trying to make sure that they're understood and that they make the decisions around here. Trinidad Chambliss has been another name in the media right now, obviously a Ferris State product. So he's a Michigan kid, and we know a lot about him. We know a lot about Tony Annese and what he did at Ferris, but will not be playing another year in college ball. We'll talk about all that to wrap up the show, and then we got question of the day as well coming up next on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics.
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Getting into our final segment here on Inside the Game. Talking a little college recruiting here. We talked about the Super Bowl, also talked about Tarek Skubal and the Tigers and their expectations going into the year. Again, keep it locked on Sports Nation to see those clips. But Ryan, you had brought up that there was some college recruiting news. We could work Trinidad Chambliss into this story as well. But what do you got for us?
Yeah, this is like complete opposite of Trinidad.
So we can start here then. No problem.
Justin Hawkinson reported this. This is according to a Big Ten general manager. Didn't list it. Didn't list the recruit. But it says college football recruits are asking for a lot nowadays, and they feel super entitled. So this is what the tweet says. We had a kid, quote from the Big Ten general manager. We had a kid ask for a signing bonus, a flight stipend, jersey number choice guaranteed, insurance policy, loss of home and disability, vehicle stipend, stipend for rental house, award campaign push, preferred walk-on spot, tickets to home and away games, and field passes for agents. One college recruit said this.
Wow.
Dude,
Go
like
ahead.
I assume this is a high school recruit. Dude, you're a high schooler. You are 18. You have not done anything significant. I don't know who this recruit is. Like if you're a 5-star, like this is all we've done. We have the NCAA and college football and donors, like all we've done is created entitled kids. That's basically what has happened. Like these kids are asking, you're out of high school, you're like, yeah, I ain't playing for you unless you give me $2 million. Like, dude, you're 18. You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Like a NFL league contract minimum is like what, just under $1 million? Is that it? Is that the league minimum? Like it's just under $1 million? Like you haven't played a snap and you probably won't play, and then you'll be upset that you won't play, even though there's 3 or 4 players that are better than you.
Yeah.
Like, cool, man. Like, you want all that? Like, if I was this Big Ten general manager, I'd be like this. Cool, man, and enjoy your college career. But don't come crawling back if you want a spot on this
Ain't
team.
happening here.
Have fun. Go do something.
Yeah.
Go play somewhere where that's tolerated. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. Like, I'm all for paying players. I'm all for it. But like, once we get into that aspect of the recruitment process, it's like, yeah, man, you haven't done anything for me. Like,
Yeah.
see ya.
I feel like eventually this is going to flip. The
It
biggest
will.
contracts that we see right now are the kids that are coming in. So I think of like the Bryce Underwood, the amount of money that Michigan paid for him. And then obviously last year, I mean, it was a better offense than what it was the year before, but that's not
Sure.
saying anything. That's not saying
It's
anything.
it's
So
like
that's
if you and
saying
I were
nothing.
running the offense in 2024, and then all of a
Right.
sudden you brought in a competent quarterback, and like anything would have been better than what happened in
Right.
2023 or 2024.
But if he doesn't go out and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. If he doesn't go out and dominate next year with Kyle Whittingham and with whatever
of
they
him.
give him in terms of options, not just get rid of him. The point of what I'm saying is that if he doesn't do it, you paid all those millions of dollars for what? For an unfinished product, for a raw product that you didn't even know. You didn't even know if he was going to go out and be good or not. You simply just threw that amount of money at a kid that had this amount of hype around him. And yeah, he's got a strong arm and he's got all these other things. But Michigan could very well, if he doesn't end up doing what we think he can do, waste that investment. And not even Michigan, right? It's coming from, the owner of Oracle. His wife was a Michigan grad, and obviously
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy and everything along those lines. But people are eventually going to start wisening up to the point of, we're paying this much money for 18-year-olds coming into the NCAA that have not proven anything. And I think about teams like Oregon, and I think about other big ticket programs. You're going to make this huge investment on a kid that is unproven, and then he goes out and he plays like a freshman. Just because you paid him millions of dollars doesn't mean he's not 18. Just because you paid him millions of dollars doesn't mean he's physically developed enough to be able to compete in college football. There's a reason why there's no high school to professional pipeline in football. In basketball, yeah, you see it. In other sports, yeah, you see it. No 18-year-old is going to go out and compete in the National Football League.
No.
That's not a thing. You have to transform. You have to live up to the physical test of college football, and then maybe you get to the NFL. So the amount of things that can happen for an 18-year-old between high school and college is immense. It's massive. And so when do these people who are investing all these money in 18-year-olds and being like, yeah, you want $2 million? Here you go. When does that stop and they start going, you know what? No, we're not going to spend that money on you. Actually, we're going to go find the guy who's been playing for 4 years, and we're going to give him that money, or the guy who's been playing for 3 years, and we're going to throw the money at him instead. So I think this is going to flip at some point, because again, if those are the expectations coming into it, you're dropping that many millions before he even takes a snap.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to wisen up to, hey, that's not a smart choice. He's still 18 years old. And that was the hardest thing getting across to Michigan fans last year. It's like, y'all, he's still a freshman.
Exactly.
He's playing like a freshman.
But I will say this, though. When you're given that amount of money and it's public to everyone, the expectations and pressure changes. And I think these
completely.
kids,
You better produce right away.
the kids have to realize that. And I never liked this comment from Coleman Hawkins a couple years ago. Like, he was in a good situation at Illinois, and Illinois was a far better team than Kansas State. Look, dude, you accepted a $2 million contract to go to Kansas State. And Kansas State, ever since that Michigan State game in the Sweet 16 a couple years ago, just has completely fallen off the face of the earth. And Coleman Hawkins was coming in the next year, and everyone had high expectations. And halfway through the Big 12 season, he's sitting there, and he's like, I don't understand why there's all this pressure on me. Like, I'm just trying to play the game of basketball as best I can, and everyone has this pressure on you. Look, dude, you accepted the $2 million contract offer. The moment you accept that, the pressure starts to mount. Ask any professional athlete. The moment they start, like, if Scooble all of a sudden starts sucking and he's making $32 million a year, everyone's going to start gaining on you. You wanted 40? You wanted $40 million a year, and this is what you're doing? Like, Javi Baez,
or if he gets hurt or whatever,
Javi Baez a couple years ago when he first came onto the Tigers, $20 million a year, and he started sucking, and everyone else is like, dude, you're the highest paid player. Like, you have to produce. Yeah. I'm sorry. When you are given this amount of money, expectations change. It's just like in a job environment. All of a sudden, you get this big promotion, expectations start to change for you. You can't just sit there and doom scroll on TikTok for an hour a day if you're at a lower position. You can't just sit around and do nothing. No, you've got to come out and produce. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? Because you have this amount of money. Once you get that amount of money, you have to accept your expectations go up like this. It's up from here. You're making $500,000. It's like this. You're making $2 million all of a sudden. Boom, you're up here. You have to go and produce and win championships. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And that's why I always thought this offseason, Michigan should have went out and got Dampier, the Utah quarterback, because he's been there a couple of years. He's already been a year in the system of Jason Beck and Kyle Whittingham. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, go get him. Tell Bryce to sit here. Look at Oregon, for example. Dante Moore, you bring in Dylan Raiola, who's been a starter for 2 years. He's going to sit here. Granted, he's got an ACL injury, so that he might not play as much regardless. But you bring in Raiola, you tell him sit. You bring in Dampier, you tell Bryce to sit. And then all the pressure comes off of you. And if Dampier sucks a little bit and you outperform him in practice, then boom. And also, I think competition breeds the best out of people. But that's ultimately what I think. And into the Trinidad situation, we hinted at it. He didn't get approved of his 6th year.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this is what college football's got to do. Give them 5 years. Tell them that's it. You get 5 years, which means you have a red shirt in there regardless. You might have had a medical red shirt in there. Give them 5 years. Boom. See ya. 5 years. That's you could play all 5 years every single game if you truly want to. You could play all games for 4 years, and you can already have that 5th year if you really want to. But that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you 5, and that's it. And the whole junior college doesn't count discussion. Oh my God! You chose to go to the junior college, and guess what? You started to make a name for yourself. Look at Cam Ward. Started at a JUCO, made a name for himself 1 year at Miami. Boom, #1 overall pick. No, he didn't win the Heisman. That was Travis Hunter. But the whole D2, I played a D2, I played D3, NAIA, JUCO. That's a part of your college process. Just because you played there doesn't mean that that doesn't stop you. Trinidad played really well at a D2, won a national championship with a Division II program. It's not a knock at him, but you played college football in the NCAA for a couple years prior to that. That doesn't mean you get another year. I'm sorry. You don't get another year because you played at Division II for 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. I'm sorry. You played in the NCAA for a couple years. You can move on with your life and go get a normal job if you can't make it in football. Jeez. God.
Yep, completely understand
people, it. Nate.
Completely understand it, man. And I think that, you talk about the NCAA putting rules and regulations in place. I think eventually there's going to be a cap on how much you can give in terms of these like signing bonuses to kids that are coming into college football. But how are you going to tell a program not to spend, how to spend, and not the program, how are you going to tell the donors how to spend their money? So that's why we've created this sticky situation. But I just think that eventually people are really going to start looking at these investments and going,
oh, that's stupid.
Is it worth it for an 18-year-old who has not played a single snap? I don't know. I don't think so. But let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day, but it's Friday, so it's a little bit special today. But question of the day is presented by Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag. 100% works. You can use it for more things than just soccer cleats. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But if you want to win a free bag, because we still have 20 left and we're about to give away one right now, head over to our Instagram, NatSoccerTV. Drop us a follow, and then on any Salt Athletic post, tag a friend and comment hashtag NSN Salt giveaway. And this week we had 4 people that have commented, and they are now in a chance to win here. So we're going to give a spin here. Jennifer Crott, one of our contestants, Ryan Yutzler, Eneldo, and Worldy Football. You guys are some of our contestants here. So let's give it a good old spin. Oh, wait. Why didn't it go on that one? Okay, hold on.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
All right, hey.
There we go. Let's see what we get here. And our winner is Worldy Football. Wow, that was close. That was a close one. I didn't know how that was gonna happen. But hey, congrats to Worldy Football. You have won a Salt Athletic bag. And remember, if you guys want to get in on the fun wheel every Friday, make sure you just comment on our Instagram posts, and you'll have a chance. We got 19 more to go for 19 weeks, 19 Salt Athletic giveaways. I don't even know what the date is. Nate, while I'm giving question of the day, let me know, search up what in 19 weeks from today, what that date will be and what month that is, because boy, oh boy, I don't know when that is. But anyway, question of the day.
Ooh, Friday, June 19th, 2026.
June 19th,
so
right around the World Cup.
Right
the question of the day. So you have from February until June to win a Salt Athletic bag. But anyway, question of the day. The best Super Bowl moment you have witnessed?
Easy. Who was it? Now I'm trying to figure out who it was. Give me a second here. The helmet catch.
The Giants.
against the Giants. Eli Manning, David Tyree, that's who it was. Against the Patriots. And that was a year, and my best friend Will growing up, big Pats fan. I don't know why. No one knew why. That was just his team. I think he was just jumping on bandwagons. But that was the year where they had literally won every game. They went undefeated. They were
16-0.
rolling through the playoffs. And they were just supposed to not roll over Eli Manning and the Giants, but they were certainly supposed to beat them. And my dad, like his second favorite team always was the Giants. I don't know why. Maybe he just gravitated towards certain players that they had. But watching that matchup, for some reason, in a matchup of teams that, again, no real interest on my end either way. I like Tom because obviously he's a Michigan guy. But if anything, I was just like, I just wanted to see the Giants win. And that catch was, I still, to this day, I think it's the most impressive catch, one of the most impressive catches I've ever seen. How he's able to pin it against his helmet is bizarre. And it's in the middle of like three different players. Like just that snapshot of that catch is like one of the most symbolic ones I feel like in NFL history. So I would say probably that moment, either that or the not handing the ball off for the Seahawks and the interception to end that one. I think
Really could have done like top 5
probably
catches because I think Julian Edelman against the Falcons was really good. Mario
Yeah.
Manningham's toe tap, I think, against the Patriots the first time, or the opposite Super Bowl where they beat the Patriots. Emmanuel Sanders really good against the Cardinals from the Steelers. But I'm simply just gonna go 28-3. It's simple. It's the biggest comeback ever, and it's late in the third quarter, and a choke that bad. I mean, if I'm a Falcons fan, that game probably still gives me nightmares, especially around this time. Like to just think that we were 25 points up in a Super Bowl, less than like 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, and we just choked, and we gave it away in overtime, and we lost. And then to think Julian Edelman's catch where it's like he's caught in between two players, and the ball just like falls, and he's on the ground and catches it between two players, and to somehow keep the ball from not falling. That has got to be like still the most insane moment I've ever seen. And then Tom Brady to win, I think that was his 5th Super Bowl at the time, because he eventually would go on to beat Jared Goff and then beat Patrick Mahomes for his 7th. But no, like there's no coming back from that, especially if I'm Matt Ryan or Julio Jones. Just to like, Devontae Freeman was on that team too. Like just to sit there and be like, I can't even imagine what that locker room must have felt.
I would have spent a lot of money just to listen to Atlanta sports radio the following day. Like that would have been anytime like a New York team just inevitably chokes in like a big time situation. Listening to New York City sports radio like the next day, or like just the crash outs is my favorite part. So that was about the only thing that it was good for was sports radio. That's the only reason why that they benefited from it, but everybody else, no. That's just, you're right. It's the single most impressive comeback certainly in Super Bowl history.
Yeah,
so,
I couldn't imagine doing
wild.
a show the next day after the Lions choke 28-3. I would just say, it's SOL. That's part of our culture. Let's move on.
Yeah. And I mean, I could certainly see another moment like it in this not the comeback, but certainly some weird moments between two teams that I'd say are pretty evenly matched in the Pats and Seahawks.
If we could take callers, I would take callers and just like them be the show and just have people rant.
We can figure that out. Maybe we can figure that out.
And be like,
there's got to be a hard line somewhere.
Just call into the show and just rant. All right, next. Next. All right,
next.
let's take a break.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know what to say. I might actually search
I
that
still
up.
appreciate radio stations that still take calls. There's a lot of hosts have gone away from taking calls because I think people just they troll too much.
Yeah.
Which is obviously we see that on social media all the time, but yeah, it's if we had the ability to do it, we'd probably do it. So, but what are you looking up?
Atlanta radio after there's already a couple of videos that pop up of radio hosts.
So
yeah,
we'll share some of that clips, some of those clips here on future episodes. Yeah, man, I'm sure the crash outs were absolutely legendary, the best.
Oh,
but
even news
we have
stories on it. Oh boy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Gambler
Those
goes
guys are
ballistic
unhinged.
After Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl meltdown, he probably had a lot of money on it then.
Oh, But that'll do it for episode 224. It's been another fun week here on Inside the Game. Obviously, 225 coming up on Monday. Going to continue our World Cup conversations as always. We're going to get more and more into hopefully the warmer months. Hopefully it's going to warm up a little bit, and then we can get to everything summer and spring related. But for now, we're going to put a wrap on that. We appreciate you guys, as always, stopping by. Keep it locked. 225 coming up on Monday. And until we talk to you guys then, so long, everybody.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.